Now, another popular tool for retouching in Photoshop is something called the Clone Stamp tool. And it's located right here in the toolbar underneath the brush tool. If you click and hold, you can see it's right there. It's also called the rubber stamp tool, some people like to call it, just because it looks like a rubber stamp. But it works very similar to, if you remember the last lesson, we were using that healing brush and we were sampling an area and then painting in. The difference is that healing brush, when you sample an area, it's going to look at the texture of an area and make the adjustment that way, and it kind of leaves the tonal range and color for the most part intact. Whereas the Clone Stamp tool pretty much will sample an area quite literally. It'll bring over the texture and the color and everything. So let me just show you. I could describe it all day, but let's just see how it works. So I'm going to select the tool, and I'm going to go inside my image here, and here I've got this flower, and let's say I want to create a duplicate of it over here on the other side. Well, I'm going to go ahead and hold down my Option or Alt key, and I'm just going to go down here to the very bottom and just click and sample the bottom area of that flower. And you can see my brush represents that area that I sampled. You can see it floating right in there. Well, if I go down here to the bottom of my document and just click and start painting, you'll notice over on the other side on the original flower, the little crosshair is mimicking my movement as I move up, sampling that area and then painting it in on this other side. So it's a quick and easy way of painting in a new object from within the document. Just like that. So I can duplicate objects. I can also remove objects. If I go over here into the texture, the background texture, and Option click right in that background texture, I can go ahead and remove an object as well. Now, notice what happens when I went too far. Now it's going to remember this area over here. So if I click too close to, if I sample an area too close to my original object and I paint and creep over in here, you'll notice that the original flower will start to paint in because it's sampling where that flower used to be. So you got to be very careful of that. You want to make sure you're sampling an area that's pretty far away, and then you can just paint and remove that area. And if you need to resample a new area, just click or Option or Alt click again and just brush that area away. Go right down in here, and we've removed that flower quickly and easily. So let's see it in a different way. I'm going to go into this photo here, and let's say that I want to perhaps duplicate this ferry boat here and remove this boat and its wake right here. Now obviously it's going to be considerably easier because we're against a water texture, and depending on what type of image you're working on, you're going to want to be careful as to what size brush you're using and various things like that. So I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller, and I'm just going to click and sample the area of the water right above this boat here. And I'm just going to go right down here, right over the boat, and just start painting in. You can see the crosshair is working along with me as I travel along this image, just like that. How cool is that? So now the boat's gone. So let's go over here and sample that ferry boat. I'm just going to Option or Alt click right on it, and you can see that it's showing the sample right inside my brush. We'll go right in here and just start painting and bring that boat right over here to the other side of my image. How cool is that? So it's a very cool and easy way of removing unwanted or unsightly objects in your images by using the Clone Stamp tool. If you're going to make very small retouching adjustments on faces, you know, like when we were removing those blemishes earlier, you're definitely going to want to use the spot healing or healing brush tool for that type of thing. Now, doesn't mean you can't use these tools, these healing brush tools, in any other image. You know, if I grab that spot healing brush and I go over here, and let's say I want to remove that little red boat, you can just paint in there, and it will mimic or look around that surrounding water area and make that similar adjustment. So they're not entirely isolated to faces. You know, these healing tools aren't necessarily just for retouching faces and blemishes, stuff like that. You can try them on all different types of things, and they'll give you very interesting results. You can use that patch tool. Say I wanted to remove the boats altogether. We'll just drag that tool all the way around, drag it over to another part of the water, and boom, and now it removes it. We can take this area here and remove these areas very quickly and easily, giving us nice empty area convincingly like there's no boats right there in the water using those simple adjustment tools. So again, depending on what type of image and what type of retouching you're going to want to do, you're going to want to try different things, and each one's going to behave a little differently on varying images. So try them, give them a little test run and see what kind of effects you get. But that is the way you make simple retouching adjustments using simple tools right inside Photoshop.